welcome everybody to another episode, another stream of Let's Talk About It. We're going to give about 1 or 2 more minutes to give others time to get onto the stream. I thank you all that did come onto the stream. Again, this is Men's Week. We'll build it as we fly, people. Build it as we fly. Thank you for coming onto the stream. For those of you that took the time out of your busy schedule this evening, I trust that everybody had a great afternoon, and hopefully a pleasant evening so far. Again, I thank you for getting onto the stream. Just gonna give about a minute or so, no more than that. We'll get right into it. Ladies, I will tell you this, with this Men's Week, you still have a few days left. If you have sons, they're more than welcome to get onto the stream. You might want to put them on the stream. Perhaps they may hear something that may help them with some of the problems or issues that you're having right now with your sons. Perhaps they may hear something within the stream that may help ease that transition out of adolescence into young adulthood, and then give them some tools going forward into adulthood as they get much older. I think that would be wise to do that. Again, I thank you for those of you that did get onto the stream. And we're going to get right into it right now. All right. Facebook. Welcome again to another stream of Let's Talk About It. Again, as a recap, this is Men's Week. My preference was to speak to men. My real hope was to get a lot of men to participate in the talking points and into the stream. But I understand we got busy lives and we got things going on in our lives, and with that being said, a lot of times what's important we tend to not prioritize, and the things that are very important we tend to prioritize. So it is what it is. You can't make this stuff up. Further confirms that there's a problem in our community. Again, like I said in a previous stream, if this group, I should say, let's talk about it, if it represented foolishness, if it represented things that had no substance to it in terms of talking points, or something that could actually help somebody if they took heed to even a percentage, however high or low, to the talking points that are said in these streams, they would see some different outcomes. I promise you that. My intent is always with these talking streams is to give some kind of substance. I do my best to give the best content I possibly can that will help someone that's hearing the stream to get better outcomes. So for those of you that jumped on the stream, I thank you again. We're going to jump right into it. What is the talking point tonight? Men, are you the best version of yourself? And are you trying? Why is that important? We as men, we're held with the task in our communities of being the backbone in our communities. We're held with the awesome task of being the protectors in our community. We're held with the awesome task of being the providers in our family. We're held with the awesome task of being fathers to our children. Even if we didn't know in the beginnings of how to be a father, we have to learn on the job. It becomes an on-the-job training for us, many of us. Especially for those of us who didn't really have a father that we grew up with. And when you come up under those dynamics, when you come up under those dynamics, it creates a very different thought process. Because now, even if we desire to be good fathers, or be good men in our community, or be good protectors, or be good, I should say, stewards over what's we're held responsible over, we get a challenge. We get challenged with not knowing how to do it, because there is no manual that's given to us. You know, when you go get a car, you usually have a driver's manual. The driver's manual tells you everything about that car. It tells you how to maintain the car, tells you how to do the maintenance work on the engine, when to change the oil, and it tells you a lot of things about the car that you didn't know about prior to purchasing the car. Well, we don't usually get those kind of manuals as men. Guys, what we usually find ourselves in, we find ourselves thrusted into situations that require a man to do it, and we have not yet learned what it is to be one. That's why it's so important to be about the business of becoming the best version of yourself. But you have to know what that actually means. Becoming the best version of yourself, it means putting away old behaviors, old ways of doing things, old thinking or thought processes that we may have had. It comes with putting away old things that we found amusing or we found entertaining that may have been destructive or self-destructive, and then taking on a whole new idea. It's like a guy on a motorcycle. If he's driving straight down the street, as long as he's going straight, it's obvious that he's not changing any direction. It doesn't become clear that he's changing direction until he turns. As soon as he turns the corner, then you know instantly, okay, he's changing direction. He's going in a different direction. All too often with us as men in our communities, we are traveling straight down a street in the same direction that we've been traveling down for years, and then finding ourselves puzzled as to why we end up on the same streets, the same areas, the same avenues, around the same kind of people. It's because we never change direction. It's impossible for us as men to become a better version or become the best version of ourselves if we continue traveling down the same street, going past the same people, and never turning anywhere that would indicate us changing direction. And I'll tell you something, I found something that stands true. People will hang with you and stay around you when they see that you're not changing direction. There's something about misery that loves company. You just can't explain it. There's something about misery, people that are miserable, who are stuck in the matrix, who are stuck on what we like to call stuck on stupid. That they love to see another individual stuck on stupid to the same level that they're stuck. And they'll never ever try to encourage you to become the best version of yourself. Why? Because they've never given it much thought to become the best version of themselves either. They believe that what they're doing is okay. They never consider the outcomes going into the future. That if they don't change, what will it spell for them? You've heard me say in many streams that life is about choices and trade-offs. And you can choose to stay on the same street. You can. You have the right to do that. You can stay on the same street, travel down the same block, go past the same people, get off at the same areas, talk to the same people, have the same conversations, do some of the same things, but you will find yourself, just what I said, stuck on stupid. You'll never become the best version of yourself. Ever. You will remain stuck. And you may find yourself stuck like that all the way into your 30s and 40s and 50s, and you'll stay stuck And you might even stay stuck until you die if you don't get off the route that you're on and make a decision to become the best version of yourselves. Now, the best version of yourselves entails a lot of things. It entails making a decision on how you carry yourself. Very important. I'm going to do a stream that's similar to what I just said in a couple of days. But tonight we're talking about you just making a decision to become the best version of yourselves. What does version mean? Version means a particular form of something differing in certain respects from an earlier form or other forms of the same type of things. What's different about you today, guys? What's different about you, gentlemen, soldiers, my brothers? What's different about you today than last year? What's different about you today than last week? What's different about you in the last 5 years? Is there anything different about you that indicates that you are striving to be the best version of yourself? I'm not talking about the fact that you slipped and fall and made mistakes, and because I don't believe anybody who's in pursuit of becoming the best version of themselves, or even becoming successful for that matter, is not going to suffer the bumps and the bruises of attempting to do such. You're going to fail, and you have to be unafraid to fail in your attempts to become the best version of yourself. You have to be unafraid to fail in that pursuit. But one thing is for sure. One thing is for certain. I can promise you this: that if you never ever turn in a different direction in pursuit of becoming the best version of yourself, you will remain the same version of yourself. Are you still talking the same way that you talked 5 years ago? Or is your conversation still the same? Are you? Are you still behaving like you behaved when you were in high school if you're now an adult? I know guys right now that I went to high school with, and I'm in my 50s, that are literally, when I tell you guys, literally still doing the same thing that we were doing together as friends when I was in my teens. They're still doing the same thing. They're still laughing at the same kind of jokes. They're still talking about relationships and their encounters with females the same way that we used to talk about it when I was in my teens. They're still immobile, like a high school student would be, who lives at home, who was not pressed with the responsibility of providing for a family or providing any evidence of upward mobility in terms of their life changing. They're still living the same stagnated, unproductive, stupid, silly way. And they're my age. Now, that's sad. That's sad. It makes it clear what the outcomes are going to be for them. Makes it very clear. Are you becoming the best version of yourself? And more importantly, are you even trying? Or do you still sit in a mindset where you expect someone to make the best version of yourself without your effort? Do you expect someone else to do it? Are you thinking that someone else is supposed to provide you with the tools that you need to become the best version of yourself without you making a conscious decision of becoming the best version of yourself willingly and deliberately and on purpose? You see? We as men making the decision to become the best version of ourselves, we have to take accountability for our decisions for where we are right now. If you're not happy with yourself in terms of where you are right now, if you're looking in mirrors and you see what looks and appears to be a regular mirror, but you're really looking into a mirror that's broken, and it shows the reflection of your broken places in your own life, meaning you've gotten comfortable with complacency. You've gotten comfortable with lazy. You've gotten comfortable with not being held accountable to do the things and be responsible for the things that real men are held accountable for. Our sole purpose in the earth with becoming the best versions of ourselves is to go into the world after we leave our parents, go into the world and go into the world with our chest out and with courage, knowing that we have to, from that point on until death, fight the wolf, tackle the bear, and bring the meat home. Meaning, what does that mean? That means you have to get to a place becoming the best version of yourself by being able to go out into the wilderness, into the wilds of life. Unafraid. I'm not saying not nervous. I'm not saying afraid in the sense that you don't know what to expect, but unafraid in your determination in tackling the task at hand and becoming an adult real man. I'm talking about becoming a grown ass man. That's what I'm talking about. Are you striving, fighting to become the best version of yourself, or have you gotten content with remaining just the way you are? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're doing? Because if that's what you're doing, how does that reflect in you getting the outcomes that you say you want as men? How does it reflect in us as men getting the outcomes that we say we want, if, in fact, we're content with riding down one street, never attempting to turn at any corners, which would show the world that we are making a change and that we are changing directions? Or are you still the same as you were 5 years ago? Are you still the same in your thought process and in your behavior and in how you think about things? Do you still believe in the same things you believed in 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years ago? If change is constant and you still believe in everything you believed in and you still behave the same way you've behaved 5 and 10 years ago, then it's clear that you are not moving. You are stagnant water. Now, you know what water does when it becomes stagnant. It starts to stink. It starts to build up with bacteria. And anything that's worthy of life cannot live in a body of water that does not move. You know that. No one likes to stand around stagnated water. It starts to grow algae and moss and all type of things on top of the water. You start to see different parasites living in the water. But you notice that you don't see any real living fish or anything like that living in stagnated water, because they can't survive in that environment. Ask yourself a question, men. If you are remaining the same as you were 5 and 10 and 15 years ago, and you have not made the decision to move into a different direction to become the best version of yourself, you got to ask yourself the question: if productive people can't stay around stagnated water because the smell is bad and because there's no living organisms that is healthy for you to have it or to ingest in that water, only parasites, only bacteria, which is indicating that there's death there in that water. If that's you, ask yourself the question: how do you expect to get the outcomes you want? And more importantly, the people that are hanging around you, if you're not trying to become the best version of yourself, are they alive or are they walking dead? It could very well be the reality that they are just like you if you've not made the decision to become the best version of yourself. Misery, again, loves company. I want to give you an experiment to try on yourself. Test it. Just test it if you think I'm wrong. Make a decision to turn, to go in a different direction. And I want you to take note of the people that you lose in the turn. Well, you're going to lose some people in the turn. Yeah. Because the people riding with you while you're going straight, they only ride comfortably because you're going straight. They see that you're not making a turn. The minute you start turning, you'll know who's with you because they won't lean into the turn. And for those of you who ride motorcycles, you know what I'm talking about. If you're riding a motorcycle and you have a passenger on the back, what's most important to the survival of you and your passenger? And you know that the most important thing is, it's not when you're going straight. What's most important is when you begin to make a turn, whether your rider will lean with you in the turn. If they remain standing upright while you're turning into that turn, you lean, they remain straight, what happens to the bike? You lose control. You could end up not only killing yourself, but you could end up killing the passenger as well. You know, the blind lead the blind, and they both fall off the ditch. So, gentlemen, are you working to become the best versions of yourself? I mentioned in the earlier stream that 2022, this is what we're on. This is what we're doing over here. We're looking at changing our image as it relates to how the world sees black men. We're looking at changing our image as how the world and our communities look at us as young men. This is important. Real men desire change. Boys desire to remain the same and expect others to tolerate their inability or unwillingness to change. The lack of change, unfortunately, and to my sad regret, in our community, the lack of change amongst our young men has become the norm. To remain ignorant, to remain foolish, to remain in this state of buffoonery and laziness has become the normal behavior in our communities amongst our young people. But if you choose to stay that way, understand life having its trade-offs along with your choices will give you an outcome. What is exactly do you want going forward as a young man? Do you desire to be married at any point in time in your life? Do you desire to have a wholesome family at any point in time in your life? And if you don't strive and work hard to become the best version of yourself and you're a young man, tell me this. If you get a son, what will you teach him? What example will you be around him? Will he even know what it looks like to carry yourself as an intelligent, upright young man or black man? Will he even know what that looks like? By looking at you, will he know what that looks like? I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. Absolutely not. I myself am not perfect. But I will tell you this. There is no such thing as a perfect person on the earth. But there is a such thing as a person desiring to change. Is that you? Is that you? Are you working to become the best version of yourself? Or, more importantly, do you care? Do you care? I know some of you are probably saying, well, you know what, Charles, I've never had an example of what that looks like. I grew up in the house with my grandmother, or I grew up in the house with just my mom. I had uncles, but they weren't really good examples either. I had cousins, male cousins, but you know, they weren't the best examples either. Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example like this and how you can overcome those circumstances, because many of us have came up under those same circumstances. So it's not like I don't understand where you're coming from, but I will tell you this. If you went to college, you didn't know the curriculum before you got there. All you needed was a desire to go to college. All you needed was a desire. And with that desire, you found yourself in a college, and you found yourself perhaps in a dorm room. And upon taking your courses, you were given what was called a syllabus. The syllabus described what you should expect in that course so that you could prepare your mind for the course curriculum. The same thing applies. If you have a desire to become the best version of yourself, you have to pay attention to those, put yourself around those who are trying to be the best versions of themselves. That is your syllabus. That is your course curriculum. And all you have to do is the same thing you did with becoming the bad version of yourself today. You surrounded yourself around the wrong people, the wrong guys, the wrong so-called men who portrayed themselves as men, but in reality were really just boys. Boys in a man's body. So what do you need to do to change that? To turn and make another turn on a different street so that you don't remain in the same course. You have to get around people, other men who really are trying to be the best versions of themselves. Going forward, that is part of the process towards the progress in our community. The men, we are the backbone of our community. If we don't become the best versions of ourselves, what is the state of the black community? What is the condition? What does the future look like for our community? We already see that the modern woman is going completely haywire. So what is the future if the men are also equally going haywire? If we're the backbone and the backbone doesn't care, then what is there? What is in the community strong enough to hold it up? What's strong enough to hold it up if we are the backbone? I mean, if you lose your backbone right now, you'll hit the ground. Your backbone, i.e., your spine, that's what holds your body upright. If you lose your backbone, i.e., your spine, you'll hit the ground. And you won't have the ability to stand. So if the men are the backbone of the community, tell me, how can the community stand if we are not concerned about becoming the best versions of ourselves? And more importantly, if we're not even trying. You know? Again, like I said earlier on other occasions, this channel is a men's channel. It's a men's channel. What do I mean by that? Does it mean that it's at the negate or it's at the neglect of women? No, absolutely not. Personally, I love women. All right, I have a beautiful woman myself, and I love her. And I have granddaughters. I love my granddaughters. So it's definitely not about putting women down on this platform. This platform is about helping us get the outcomes that we want, however hard that truth sounds. And likewise for us, however hard that truth sounds, if we can get outside of our ego, because you know we got some big ones. Sometimes with we have so much ego that we're stupid. But if we can get outside of our ego, if we can put down our pride, an unhealthy pride, if we can put those things down and begin to listen to talking points that will actually help us become the best versions of ourselves in our community, you'll watch the whole community change. Just like that. Just like that. We won't need laws to be passed as if that's what's going to cause us to change. It's not. Laws may change, but if we don't make the decision to become the best versions of ourselves, we'll just simply remain the same. Laws have been changed all along. All these years, laws have been changed. Our community has not gotten better. They have not gotten better. And young men that are in these communities where we live, they don't have a real good example of what a strong black man even looks like. They're learning at early ages what it's like to sag their jeans and show their underwear. Like you're advertising for a booty call. Your booty. Otherwise, real men don't drag their pants down. They don't sag their pants. Pull your goddamn pants up. Real men pull their pants up. They don't wear a belt around their hip while their pants is past their hip. They don't wear a belt around the belt. You know, you ever seen this? A belt is in the belt loops, but the pants itself is below the butt cheeks or right along the butt cheeks. Go figure. You can't make that shit up. It's stupid. Real men don't dress themselves like that. That's not the best version of yourselves, guys. That is not the best version of yourselves. That's the worst version of yourself. And it won't get you the outcomes that you want. Because a self-respecting man who's looking for the respect of not just his community, but looking for the respect of the world, he will not carry himself that way. Why? Because he's looking to become the best version of himself. Find out what the best version of you is. And what would really be sad is if you think where you are right now is your best version, then you got more problems than this stream. You have way more problems than this stream. This stream tonight and these talking points is for those that have some hope of being able to change the direction from which they're going now and how they're being perceived, never giving thought whatsoever about becoming the best version of themselves, to where not only they can be respected in their own community, but they can be respected amongst their ladies who are in their communities. They can be respected amongst their female family members that are in their communities. They can be respected when they go to pursue employment. They can go to be respected when they pursue careers, because they've decided to not look like everybody else. And being that I said that, let me say this. If you look like everybody else, that's not your best version. If you dress like everybody else, that's not your best version. If you talk like everybody else, guys, that's not your best version. If you laugh at the same jokes that everybody laughs at, that's not your best version. If your belief systems about what it means for you to be a man is like every other man you meet, that's not your best version. We're looking for us as men to be about the business of becoming the best versions of ourselves. And more importantly, are we trying? Because if we're not trying, again, like I said, you know, life's about choices and trade-offs. And we can look into our community and we can see what those trade-offs are. If you, those of you that watch this stream, if you have a daughter, would you want your daughter to be introduced to you? Are you the man that you'd want your daughter to meet? Are you the man that you'd want your daughter to date? Are you the man that you'd want your daughter to bear children from? Would you marry you? If you were a female, would you date you if you were a female? Those are good questions to ask. This, like I said, is about becoming the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself. Not a carbon copy of someone else and what they call a version. Most of these versions are so outdated, they should have thrown them away years ago. Some of these versions should have been thrown away years ago. We need a new version of how black men are perceived in the community. And this is what we need to be about our business of doing. Are you the best version of yourself, and are you trying? Short stream tonight. I just wanted to put that out there for the brothers who take this information and it becomes valuable for you. If not, again, like I said, choices and trade-offs. Throw it away. If you find value in anything that was said tonight in this stream, then it was for you. It was for you. Because I am you. I'm your brother. My name is Charles Chambliss. I'm the host of Let's Talk About It. Thank you for getting on the stream tonight. All of you that did get on the stream, I appreciate you. Those that get on after the stream, I appreciate you as well. Hit the like button if you got something out of it. It's free. I promise you. You won't be charged. Hit the like button if you liked it. If you don't hit it. But if any of you got anything from the stream, whether you're on it right now live or you get on it later, then hit that like button. Again, my name is Charles Chambliss. I'm the host of Let's Talk About It. I appreciate you. Until next time, we are gone. Have a good night, folks.